It needs to be repealed. How many more millions of Americans need to lose their health insurance and doctors that they like just because the government doesn't like their insurance?
DNA force. When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. DNA force. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. DNA force. We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. DNA force.
And it's 8:01 Central Standard Time in 2 hours into our continual coverage of this major midterm election that appears to be a major political realignment. The Republicans have gained 2 more seats in the Senate in preliminary numbers right now. Mitch McConnell has also secured his win in Kentucky. We're going to be breaking those numbers down. Jakari Jackson is over there in his studio looking at those numbers. We'll go to him here in about 10 minutes. But I wanted to look at some of the other facets of what this election means and how there's bipartisan pushing to not allow GMO labeling, but there's bipartisan support by the people to do that. We're going to be discussing that as well. But I was just thinking about Obamacare. Even Democrats I know and other talk show hosts I know have all seen at least 50% increases, most of them 100% increases. I've seen a 70% increase with Blue Cross Blue Shield, even though we've never had a claim. My mother and my dad have not had a claim since my sister had meningitis when she was 3. We're talking 25 years ago or so. My sister's a lot younger than me. And they just got calls from their healthcare providers saying, you're so low that Obamacare is going to fine you at the price we're charging you. We've got to raise it $200 a month on you. And that's after they already increased it on them. So you can see the insurance companies wrote this. And I saw a report today in the Associated Press and others that Obama has put pressure on insurance companies last week to not do the new increases until after the election. So just like we're going to find out what's going on with Ebola after the election, we're going to find out really how bad Obamacare is after. What a monumental screw job this is. So $60 million is a Senator Sessions, and they've confirmed it. Green card's already printed. Just fiat, do whatever I want, open us up to the world, free welfare. Executive orders to shut down more power plants. Executive orders on more regulations to shut down mining. We almost have nothing left. I was reading the U.S. used to be the world leader in mining. It's like 1% compared to Africa or 2% compared to Australia. I mean, we're a joke, folks. We are. There's not even one lead mine in the U.S.
Or lead smelter. We've shut the last one down as well.
There's only one uranium mine in the U.S. I'm not even a big fan of all that, but I mean, we are shut down. We are a joke.
Yeah, if you don't get minerals, you're not in the game.
Yeah, I mean, we are just, I mean, these people are screwing us over because they all own the big factories in China and stuff. That's their investment. They shut us down. That makes their investment go up. At our expense, we are under such a tyranny. And then Obamacare is coming into the whole equation here. This just makes me sick. So we've got that. We've got, obviously, news director for Nightly News, Rob Dew here. Anthony Gucciardi, writer for InfoWars.com, StoryLink.com, and also one of the developers of the InfoWarsLife.com line of products. I want to get into GMO labeling. Then I want to talk about election fraud and voter ID with Leanne McAdoo, who's going to come back in, and with Jakari Jackson, the Texas Attorney General, suing over all that. Just letting you know what's coming up as we give you the latest numbers throughout the evening. And then we'll also get Joe Biggs' report breaking down investigative journalism. We'll go back to Biggs out there at the Texas gubernatorial race being watched around the country.
They've been searched twice now by police just to get into this event, this Greg Abbott event. They've been searched twice, probably because they have backpacks and camera equipment, so they must obviously be terrorists. And it's just amazing the way common press is treated here in the United States. I mean,
and we went and got the press passes.
Yeah, we had everything ready to go. We had the tickets, everything had been done, and still, well, we got to search you. Well, now we're going to search you again. We searched us 10 minutes ago. So we were going to go back to them, but we couldn't because they were being searched.
Well, they're scared of Biggs because he's a veteran.
Right.
And a combat veteran. But the cops know what's going on. Most of them are combat veterans. A lot of them are, at least half. Most of them are military. 70% or so are military. About half are combat vets. The government funds ISIS. They fund al-Qaeda. They're using this as a pretext to take our liberties.
And speaking about that, just to quickly interject, on Halloween, I was walking around downtown, and they were taking people's accessories for their costume. Like someone had a little cane, they were like a wizard or something, and they took that. They confiscated it at this exact place, the Moody Theater. They had an event, a concert event for Halloween. They took someone's crystal ball. They took plastic hats, anything. And they said,
well, you know why? It's because there's a small element of society that are scum that throw things at the people on stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, just like an authoritarian system, you pay for what other bad people do.
Oh, yeah.
But they don't actually catch the bad people.
Oh, no, they didn't catch the mob of folks pulling a knife on you and attacking you.
No, exactly.
They don't ever catch any of the real criminals. No,
Just like at the concert I went to when they took my pants down and put a flashlight underneath my boxers to look for terrorists. They didn't catch any actual terrorists that night either.
And that was in Houston when you went to see, well, one of the greatest acts out there, because I've seen him myself as well. And, of course, that's Alice Cooper.
It's like a theatrical event. You know, you go there, he does a bunch of really interesting things. But they were taking people, and they were taking the outline of their boxers and putting flashlights down, making sure they weren't, you know, carrying weapons. And the women, they had to, you know, pat down their bras. And
of course, you got to pat.
Well, you know, Shane Steiner's wife looks like a beauty queen. And we went to see Megadeth, even though we went to the VIP area in the back. I made the joke, like, watch, they're going to wave all like 20 guys through. And I go, those women guards, you know, they had like Janet Reno haircuts. I said, they're going to do extra attention. And it was just spit coming out their mouths. They were just, I mean, it just went on and on and on. Oh, my God.
Those are the people who want to join.
Those women are hard up.
But this is what we get. This is what we get for letting this stuff happen and not speaking out enough. I mean, this is the kind of society that we're going to.
A nation of
just like this GMO labeling. I mean, we can't know what's in our food because the GMO companies might not get enough sales and not be able to.
Hey, but it doesn't matter what they do. Everybody's turning their back on them. We're done with Bill Gates and all these people. Let's get into bipartisan treason, both parties supporting open borders, gun control to a great extent, but really not letting us label GMOs. Let's break down those numbers. Anthony Gucciardi.
What's really interesting to me, and this is from the Center for Food Safety, all of this research compiling it, is that in every single poll, we're going to go through each one, and we're going to get into really why it's not happening, but over 90+% of people in the United States agree they want GMO foods labeled in every single grocery store.
But I don't need to be intellectual. I'll just call you racist.
Oh, of course. And here's the whole issue, is that they claim that there's no studies that say GMOs are an issue and all of that. That's nonsense. But the whole debate over whether it's safe isn't even here right now. We're talking about labeling it. So let's go through this. The New York Times found that 93% of Americans are in favor of labeling. MSNBC said 96%. That was a 45,000 voters they polled. Reuters and NPR said 93+%. Washington Post, 95%. KSTP, 95%. Consumer Reports, 95%. ABC News, 93%.
I don't care about your facts. Racist, racist, racist.
Yeah,
That's
so
the only way to beat
these elections?
If you don't eat GMO food that kills rats and honeybees, you're racist.
No, that's the question. Rob said it. And basically, what's funny is we're being sarcastic, but it's actually true.
Yeah, well, no, we're not. I mean, that's the thing.
No, that's really it. Because how do you possibly argue with 96+% of the population saying they don't want GMOs in their food, and then all the studies and the research that we're going to get into, you don't. That's the answer. You don't. And then we look at Prop 37, which was in California. It was the initiative for GMO labeling that every single person thought was going to pass. I mean, there was no question.
That was clear fraud.
Oh, absolutely. And we'll get into what they did about that. But let's talk about the money behind all of it. So some actual good organizations donated money towards labeling, but most of the organizations that you're buying from right now donated millions and millions of dollars to fight GMO labeling because they knew they would lose money.
Yeah, let's do a document cam shot. Let's do
Actually, they have the graphic as well on screen, perhaps, but here's the actual image.
Of course, Monsanto.
Monsanto,
Naked Juice, which is supposed to be a health food.
Naked, which is owned by Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Sorry, PepsiCo. And they donated $1.7 million. Honest Tea, which is organic and supposed to be very healthy, owned by Coca-Cola. I confused the two. It was $1.1 million. Alexia, Cashy, which has been found to contain tons of GMOs. Silk, Horizon Organic, even donated over $200,000 to crush GMO labeling. But that's not even why we can't have GMO labeling. The real reason, and this is in Huffington Post, you know, total mainstream news, did Monsanto trick California voters? Well, absolutely they did, and they're tricking voters around the United States right now, and that's the only reason why we might not see real labeling.
But that's not the issue. 97% that want this are homophobes.
No, obviously they're racist.
No, I have the moral high ground.
You do. You do. And in fact, you could just say that I'm unscientific.
You're just unscientific. I like.
Where's the studies? Where's the research?
You don't use a gene gun to prove this.
Well, I don't care if all the studies for 20 years show that BT corn kills the animals that eat it. I think we should eat it. So what if all the gut disorders are off the chart? Clearly, this path we're going down is good.
Oh, yeah. If you were
racist.
A professor at a university and you were just going to say that's unscientific, hogwash, woo science, then you're on the moral high ground and I'm bad.
Doesn't matter. All the real science shows that.
No, it doesn't matter.
Like the Harvard study on fluoride.
Oh, of course.
Or the German studies on the BT corn.
Even a little bit created tumor growth by 25% and led to infant retardation.
Why are you being discriminatory against tumors?
Yeah, exactly. Harvard's being discriminatory
Tumors
too.
have rights.
Exactly. But look at this.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. Like tumors have a right to grow in you, and
it
like
is
that's
actually,
cellular
it is
discrimination.
If you don't eat GMOs and let the tumor get
I think when you're white, notice they're white, blood cells eat cancer, they're being racist.
Infallible argument.
Because what color is a tumor? Usually red.
It's true.
Red.
And some of the cells, once it's a necrotic, can turn black. So it could get pretty serious.
There you go. Well, I think we should all get cancer then.
I think it's, well, thankfully, we all have cancer in our body right now.
So I got a question about this. Why didn't California put it back on the ballot? Are they not allowed for like 10 years now? They voted it down?
Well, basically, there's legalities behind it, but all of these corporations are making sure that never happens again.
Of course.
And again, we have bipartisan, even though the people are 96, 97% for this. I mean, you just label it. Just let us know.
Yeah.
Well, they're not even saying ban it.
Decide.
They're not even saying ban it, which we should do, but they're not even saying ban it. They're saying just label it, which is the most insane thing. It's like saying, please let us know how many calories we're consuming on the products that we eat. No, you don't need to know that. Everything's fine. But
they're going to ban soda and tax soda, but we
want to know the carbohydrates.
GMO in it.
But the good news is people are waking up to this. That's why they're trying to block it. And companies themselves are putting what's in there on it. People are then voting, and it's already destroying McDonald's and the rest of the Monsanto crowd.
I mean, we have
the non-GMO project. I buy a lot of stuff of theirs. Just I look for that specific little logo for non-GMO project.
Don't show off how many facts you know.
Oh, I'm serious.
I don't need to be intellectual. Homophobe.
Well, I have some homophobic news in here somewhere about how Whole Foods is planning to label all of their products for GMOs by 2017. Here it is. GMO labeling coming to Whole Foods market. By 2018, we will require our supplier partners to label products containing GMO ingredients and will work in collaboration with them as they transition to sourcing non-GMO ingredients. So obviously, we want it before 2018, but the key here is that everyone's waking up, and the whole fact is that
because they tried to back off and start selling GMO a few years ago, and it blew up in their face.
Freaked out. Now it'll be whole paycheck plus though.
Racist.
Well, look, one of the things we talked about this yesterday. So they claimed that if you label GMOs, right, it's going to cost more money. That's actually not true. Here, this is from Huffington Post. Monsanto paid a PR firm with expertise in fighting recycling legislation on behalf of the soda industry to generate a misleading quote-unquote study that was designed to show the proposition raising food prices by hundreds of dollars per state resident per year. So it's literally fake.
Yeah.
And then, as I talked about yesterday, which we actually broke and I was on the conference call for, they illegally included the FDA logo in a No on 37 mailing to state residents and made up a quote from the FDA, which the FDA refuted. The FDA did not and cannot express an opinion on ballot initiatives. Now, let me just say this. Can you imagine if we made up a quote on the FDA saying,
they'd arrest us.
Saying like, these products are so amazing, they do all this amazing stuff and they cure everything.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what they would do to us? Monsanto made up a quote saying, GMOs are completely safe and they're amazing from the FDA. And the FDA was like, no, we didn't say that, but it's okay.
I saw an article today. They're going after Dr. Rima Lebeau for saying she's got a cure for Ebola with her silver, whatever she's got. They're saying, hey, you can't say that. And they're coming after her and they're trying to.
No, you're not allowed to say anything unless they approve it, unless you're Monsanto.
Unless you're exactly.
Then you can identity theft the FDA and it's okay.
Well, a woman faced 25 years in prison for the same thing. She used the federal logo on a mail stamp to try and scam someone, and she's facing like 25 years in prison and $250,000 in fines. I think she ultimately was sentenced. They
For
even,
wire fraud,
yeah. They even used a Stanford logo in TV ads and mailers when the university did not take a stand on the issue and admitted that they had nothing to do with it. So they're literally...
So it was an appeal to